If there's one critique of the media from the right that I do agree with is the moralizing nature. Like there is no condescension and moralizing on Fox. It's people on a couch asking questions. Are you worried about how many terrorists are coming in on the border? Do you ever worry about that? Whereas if you turn on MSC, sometimes you're like, it's like birds descending, at sea on a tuna boat going, that's factually incorrect. Incorrect. Not correct. Incorrect. And you're just like, I can't listen to this.
You're all acting like the tariff regime is a tried and true remedy. Oh, of course, this is the medicine that's always prescribed. Except the last time it was tried 100 years ago, we had a Great Depression.
Jon Stewart has once again turned his fire on MSNBC, this time calling out the network for its non-stop attacks on Donald Trump. Surprising, right? After all, Stewart built much of his career on skewering Trump. But honestly, it's a refreshing twist. It shows that even some of Trump's toughest critics are now pointing out the double standards within their own camp, and they're not pulling punches. Stewart's takedown was so sharp it nearly broke the internet. And yes, we've got all the receipts. But before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss moments like this.
First law of Trumpodynamics. Every action is met with a very not equal overreaction.
These pardons are sick. They are offensive. They are un-American.
This is one of the most egregious, despicable acts in American history.
This is textbook authoritarian takeover 101.
Knew I should have taken that class. And not majored in submissive liberal crying 101.
Trump derangement syndrome has reached almost cartoonish levels, and now even liberals like Jon Stewart are sounding the alarm. The lies, the scripted outrage, the shameless spin, it's all spiraling out of control. And Stewart, he's had enough. At the center of the storm is MSNBC, a network seemingly built to take down Trump while pushing an endless stream of performative wokeness. But here's the twist. Stewart, along with a growing chorus of his ideological peers, isn't playing along anymore. They are breaking ranks, calling out the hypocrisy, and exposing what many see as the left's media machine, a propaganda engine dressed up as journalism. This isn't about defending Trump. It's about defending truth. And somehow, Stewart has emerged as an unlikely voice of reason in a media landscape that's completely lost the plot.
You want to make America great again, you can't skimp on the details.
President Trump says he's going to reverse Joe Biden's mandate to phase out plastic straws, saying, enjoy your next drink without a straw that disgustingly dissolves in your mouth.
Okay, he's right on this one. He is right on this one. Those straws are f***ing terrible. Objectively terrible. I'm supposed to have some weird tissue paper dissolve in my mouth just because turtles can't figure out straws aren't food? No. Don't eat the tubes, you stupid turtles. So Trump is making America great again by taking us back to 2016. But obviously, if we're going to make America great again, we can't stop in 2016. We got to keep pushing to that place when America was truly great.
This is exactly what I've been saying. Real, unbiased journalism has become a rare gem. Let's be honest. Some of Biden's environmental policies aren't just questionable, they are downright absurd. These are the kinds of ideas that should be challenged, mocked, and picked apart. But do you think MSNBC or CNN will hold him accountable? Not a chance. You could put the flaws of Biden's agenda right in front of them, and they'd still spin it as a victory. It's as if they're allergic to criticism whenever the left is in charge. At this point, it's not journalism anymore. It's public relations dressed up with a teleprompter. And the American people are finally starting to see through the act.
If there's one critique of the media from the right that I do agree with is the moralizing nature. Like there is no condescension and moralizing on Fox. It's people on a couch asking questions. Are you worried about how many terrorists are coming in on the border? Do you ever worry about that? Whereas if you turn on MSC, sometimes you're like, it's like birds descending, at sea on a tuna boat going, that's factually incorrect. Incorrect. Not correct. Incorrect. And you're just like, I can't listen to this.
MSNBC seems to be operating with a clear anti-Trump, anti-Republican agenda, where every word from the former president or his allies is dissected under a microscope. They pounce on inconsistencies, fact-check every syllable, and spin even the smallest slip into a full-blown scandal. It's relentless, but where was that same energy when Biden was in charge? Suddenly, the fact-checking all but vanished. Gaffes were brushed aside. Broken promises were rebranded as policy shifts. Instead of holding the administration accountable, MSNBC coddled it, serving up softball coverage and carefully crafted narratives that shielded Biden from real scrutiny. And when they catch even the faintest misstep from the right, they don't just report it, they magnify it, sensationalize it, and plaster it across nonstop coverage. That's not journalism. It's partisan theater. A double standard this blatant doesn't just erode public trust, it exposes the media's true loyalties. And viewers are finally starting to notice.
I think what the media has done over the last 10 years is cry wolf, to the point where they numbed everybody. It was an anesthetic. And it got to where, what was the thing they litigated throughout this campaign? He's a fascist, he's a terrible person. Democracy is on the ballot. Guess what lost at the ballot? If you told us democracy is on the ballot, well, democracy got its ass kicked by a majority vote. So I'm very cautious about when to know, like, yeah, hopefully I won't do it the night after Kristallnacht. I'll get it, like, but it's like, when do you put your dog down? Like, it's one of those things, like, you're not quite sure. But I do understand how annoying that is.
Another truth bomb from Jon Stewart just dropped, and the media is squirming. Here's the thing. When networks like MSNBC and CNN keep crying wolf when there's clearly no wolf, people eventually tune out. And who can blame them? It's all panic, no substance. All outrage, no facts. No wonder their ratings are in free fall. Viewers are sick of being lied to, gaslit, and manipulated by so-called journalists who peddle political bias as if it were gospel. That's why more and more Americans are ditching legacy media for independent outlets, places where reporting doesn't come pre-packaged with spin and condescension. The non-stop dishonesty pouring out of the mainstream media isn't just frustrating, it's nauseating. Trust is gone, and unless these outlets pull a hard U-turn, they are barreling toward irrelevance. You can only run on propaganda for so long before the public wakes up. And make no mistake, that wake-up call is already happening.
Inspiring words for us. Mr. President.
History is literally watching us now. So let's preserve this secret place for our time and forever, for the benefit of all humanity. Thank you very, very much.
Maybe this is how we should do the transfer of power. The winner moves into the White House, and the incumbent just wanders off into the jungle so that his nutrients may be returned to the soil.
Just like Bill Maher, Jon Stewart isn't afraid to take shots at President Biden. And honestly, that's what real comedians are supposed to do, use humor as a scalpel to cut through the noise and get to the truth. Stewart doesn't tiptoe around party lines or bow to political correctness. He calls it as he sees it. And that's what makes him stand out in today's echo chamber media landscape. His unapologetic takes have earned him both loyal fans and fierce critics. But he couldn't care less. Stewart isn't chasing applause from either side. He's here to challenge narratives, expose hypocrisy, and say the things the reproved media won't touch with a 10-foot pole. Meanwhile, the woke press bends over backward to excuse Biden's constant gaffes. Whether he's rambling off-script or forgetting names mid-sentence, the media coddles him instead of holding him accountable. Stewart, on the other hand, speaks his mind, no filter, no spin. And that's exactly why his voice is cutting through louder than ever. Of course, Democrats aren't exactly known for taking criticism lightly. And the moment Stewart spoke out, they came after him guns blazing.
Quite frankly, the response to the first show last Monday was universally glowing.
Jon Stewart is facing massive backlash from Democrats over his comments about Joe Biden. Oberman tweeted, well, after 9 years away, there's nothing else to say to the both side is fraud Jon Stewart bashing Biden except please make it another 9 years. Christy Jackson tweeted, sorry, but I won't be watching you either.
Okay. Maybe not universal. But that was on Twitter. Everything on Twitter gets a backlash. I've seen Twitter tell labradoodles to go themselves.
The left loves to brand itself as the defender of democracy and free speech, but the moment someone steps out of line, they're the first to silence dissent. It's a classic double standard. On paper, they preach inclusivity and open dialogue. In practice, that inclusivity only applies to those who parrot the approved talking points. Step outside the bubble, and suddenly you're the enemy. That's exactly what's happening to Jon Stewart. Once hailed as a progressive icon, he's now relentlessly hounded by the same crowd that used to cheer him. Why? Because he dares to question woke orthodoxy. He points out the absurdities, contradictions, and hypocrisy, and for that, they brand him a traitor. The message is clear: toe the line or face the backlash. But Stewart refuses to play along. That's what makes him dangerous to both sides. He's not interested in partisan games. He's calling them out. And in an era when honest voices are shouted down for failing to repeat the correct opinions, that kind of integrity is rare and badly needed. And Stewart? He doesn't flinch. He doubled down, going after Biden even harder.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
How did Biden do not talking?
Nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing.
Not great. Oh shit, we're back, baby! Abortion! A to the B to the O to the R to the D to the repeal of Roe v. Wade. That is Trump's weakest issue.
Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral.
Did you just immigration abortion?
Jon Stewart has become one of the few liberals willing to call out President Biden's ineptitude without hesitation. While most of the mainstream left circled the wagons to shield Biden at all costs, Stewart broke ranks, mocking the president's endless gaffes, contradictions, and awkward public appearances, and right on cue, Democrats came for him. The outrage machine revved up, branding Stewart a traitor and accusing him of handing ammunition to the other side. But he didn't flinch. No apologies. No walkbacks. Because unlike many in his camp, Stewart values honesty over blind allegiance. That he knows comedy isn't about protecting power, it's about cutting through it. And if that means pointing out the flaws of a president he once supported, so be it. Stewart's commitment to intellectual honesty, even at the expense of his popularity on the left, is exactly what separates him from the echo chamber pundits masquerading as comedians today. It's risky. It's bold. And it's why his voice still matters.
For some reason, there is a persistent fiction within the Democratic Party that if they just hang out with Republicans in the gym or wait out Trump's popularity or give them concessions on a continuing resolution they said would harm the country, that Republicans will finally see the light. The Democrats will be rewarded with productive bipartisanship, or, as they put it,
This fever will break. All this excitement about Donald Trump, it's going to break.
So it is like a cult. The fever will break.
Is this the night the fever will break?
A chance to break the fever.
I believe at some point soon the fever will break.
I think you're going to see the fever break.
President Obama saying, quote, "Now I believe when we're successful in this election that the fever may break."
if someone's been running a fever since the aughts, that's not a fever. That is their default resting temperature.
Here's the truth. Until Democrats drop their obsession with woke ideology, the so-called Trump fever isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's only getting stronger. The more the left doubles down on identity politics, censorship, and performative virtue signaling, the more everyday Americans feel alienated and pushed towards someone who, at the very least, speaks in plain, unapologetic terms. People gravitate toward Trump not out of blind loyalty, but because his policies, agree with them or not, are rooted in common sense. Border security, energy independence, economic growth. He talks about real problems with straightforward, if sometimes blunt, solutions. And in a world where everything feels overpoliticized and needlessly complicated, that kind of clarity is refreshing. The longer Democrats ignore that reality, the longer Trump's appeal will last. Until the left starts addressing real issues instead of pandering to fringe narratives, they are only fueling Trump, and others like him, as frustrated voters look for leaders who cut through the noise that in the end, the media's bias, the left's double standards, and the Democrats' fixation on woke politics are driving more people toward voices like Trump and Stewart. Until truth takes priority over narrative, the demand for common sense and accountability will only grow louder and harder for the establishment to ignore. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.